Can New York ever fix Penn Station? Hi there, it's Jeff, and this is Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with stories about current events and trending topics, and sometimes stories about places. This is one of those episodes. Today, we are talking about New York's Penn Station, the busiest train station in the United States. Now, I bet a lot of you listening have been to Penn Station, and you can tell me what you think of it. But I'll tell you what New Yorkers think of it. They hate it. And they've hated it for decades. So why can't anything be done about it? That's the topic of today's story. This is episode number 851 on Monday, March 30th, 2026. The full episode is at plainenglish.com/851. That's thanks to JR, our producer. Before we start today's story, I'd just like to remind you that the podcast is just one part of how we can help you upgrade your English skills. At plainenglish.com, you can make faster progress with active learning strategies. You can take quizzes, do activities, listen to the fast version of the audio, watch video workshops, practice what you learn, and even join a live call with JR and me. It's all about helping you build your skills to become a better, more confident English speaker. Sound good? Go to plainenglish.com to start your free 14-day trial today. Now, let's jump into today's story. The island of Manhattan in New York City is the beating heart of American culture and commerce. About 1.7 million people live in Manhattan, but the daytime population swells to 4 million, with commuters from a 3-state area. And right in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, between 7th and 8th Avenues, and from 31st Street to 33rd Street, is the country's biggest, busiest train station, Pennsylvania Station. Riders use Penn Station to go to the suburbs of New Jersey and Long Island, to connect at high speed to Boston and Washington, D.C., and to take long-distance trains as far as Los Angeles and Miami. Penn Station was built in 1910 during the golden age of America's railroads. So you might be imagining a beautiful Beaux Arts building with soaring ceilings, huge windows, granite and marble, all the grandeur of the nation's great early 20th century train stations. You might be imagining a station on par with Grand Central Terminal across town, where travelers from around the world look in awe at the detailed ceilings, snap selfies with the famous clock in the background, and dine on fresh oysters. If you're imagining a Penn Station something like that, you're right. It was just like that. It was an architectural masterpiece, bathed in natural light, with a pink granite facade and elegant columns. It was, until it was torn down in 1963. Today, Penn Station is buried underground with not a single window. It's a confusing maze of low-ceilinged corridors lined with cheap shops and fast food. No oysters here. If you're hungry, you'll probably have to scarf down a piece of pizza standing up. It is the place that New Yorkers love to hate. The city always thinks big, looks up, builds high, and aims higher. But the busiest train station in the city, the station that connects New York to the nation's capital and beyond. That station is a decaying, depressing, underground bunker. The destruction of the original Penn Station in 1963 is considered one of the gravest mistakes in the city's architectural history. And generations of New York leaders, mayors, governors, city planners, transit directors, real estate developers, they've all dreamed about restoring Penn Station to its previous glory. And one plan after another has failed. Both architectural and political factors are standing in the way of any plan to rebuild Penn Station. Start with the architecture. Shortly after the original Penn Station was torn down, the concourses and waiting areas were moved underground so that an arena could be built where the station once stood. That arena is called Madison Square Garden. It's home to New York Knicks basketball and New York Rangers hockey, and it hosts major concerts, boxing matches, and events. The Garden bills itself as the world's most famous arena, and it might even be right about that. To support a 20,000-seat arena, more than 1,000 beams had to be driven deep into the ground, slotted in between the train tracks far below. And now, 60 years later, these support beams are a primary reason why the tracks can't be reconfigured or why the platforms and concourses can't be widened. The beams are quite literally holding up the world's most famous arena. Then there are the political obstacles, and these might be even more formidable than 1,000 beams drilled into bedrock. 3 transit systems use Penn Station. One for commuters to New Jersey, one for commuters to Long Island, and one for long-distance passengers bound for other cities. Each system has its own agency head, and each agency reports to a different political leader, 2 state governors and 1 cabinet agency in Washington. Amtrak, the national train system, owns the station, but they only own what's underground. A powerful media company owns the arena on top of it. That means for anything to happen at Penn Station, 3 governments and 1 private landlord all have to agree. Over the years, various ambitious New York State governors have promised to fix Penn Station. One governor, Eliot Spitzer, came tantalizingly close in 2008. He got the arena's owner to agree to build a new Madison Square Garden across the street. That would make room for a new Penn Station above ground. But before he could finalize the deal, the governor was forced to resign in a sex scandal. Without anyone pushing for the plan, the deal collapsed. Now, the federal government wants to try its hand at finally fixing Penn Station. The Trump administration has taken control away from New York State and put a respected transit executive in charge of the project. But these are still early days. A final plan hasn't even been agreed upon. Scratch that. A preliminary plan hasn't even been agreed upon. Step 1 is to solicit ideas from developers. That's happening now. The government confidently projects that construction on a new Penn Station will start in 2027. I have spent more hours than I care to admit in Penn Station. When I lived in New York, I took the New Jersey trains frequently. The platforms are so dark and narrow that they don't want anyone waiting on the platform for the train. So they don't announce the track until right before the train leaves. And what people do is they wait in these crowded waiting areas, almost always standing up. The waiting areas might have a few dozen seats to serve hundreds, maybe thousands of people. So almost everyone is standing up, and they stare at the screens in the minutes before their train leaves. And the moment the track number shows up on the screen, people bolt to the stairway that leads down to their track, jockeying for position, trying to get to the train in time to get a seat. To address this type of overcrowding, Penn Station does have a new waiting room. It's in the old post office building on 8th Avenue. That was designed by the same architectural firm and was built in the same style as the original Penn Station. I have not been there, but it's supposed to be beautiful. There's a grand, light-filled waiting area with new places to eat, so you can wait for the train there, enjoy the classic architecture, and then go down the stairs to the same old, ugly, narrow tracks as always. But at least the time you spend in ugly old Penn Station is limited. Oh, that new train hall cost $1.6 billion, so I can't wait to see what the redesign of the actual station will cost. That's too bad because for so many people, this is their first impression of New York City. Every day, people fly to Newark Airport from all over the world. Their first time in America, their first time in New York City. They take the train to Manhattan. They get off the train and, what an awful first impression. I hope they can do something about it. I don't know, though. That 2027 timeline seems a little ambitious. That's the end of our story today. I like writing stories about places I've been to. I hope you like listening to them. This was episode number 851 of Plain English, so you can find the full story with exercises and fast audio at plainenglish.com/851. When you're there, check out the Dig Deeper section for some videos that can show you Penn Station. I put one video that shows the problems today and one that shows the great place that Penn Station once was a long time ago. So I hope you enjoy those at plainenglish.com/851. We'll be back on Thursday with an expression and a new story on Monday. See you then. Listen up if you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, or Turkish. One of the most frustrating things about listening and reading in a second language is being confused by unfamiliar words or phrases. When you listen to Plain English, or when you read the transcript, you probably encounter some words you don't know. When that happens, you have a few options. You can stop the audio, go look up the definition, then return to the episode, find your place, and press play again, but that's exhausting. Or you can just skip it and be confused. That's no fun either. But what if you could see the translation of the word into your language instantly without having to stop the audio, without having to look anything up? Well, you can at plainenglish.com. For each episode, we translate about 100 words and phrases from English to 9 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, and Turkish. And we highlight those words in blue. All you have to do is hover your mouse over the highlighted word, and you'll see the translation instantly. It works great on mobile too. It really makes listening a lot more satisfying, and it's a great way to expand your vocabulary in English. The best way to see these translations is to sign up for a free 14-day trial at plainenglish.com. During your trial, you can read as many transcripts as you like, all with the translations into your language. So sign up for your free trial today at plainenglish.com.